Hello there, I'm Sconchulus, and this is TEPPEN Deck Teck, where I present to you decks that are fun, strong, or interesting. Today we are playing the brand new Demon archetype from Defying the Light. This deck is all about a mid-range reactive playstyle that wins on board. So the natural fit for our hero art is Morrigan's Shadowblade. This will let us win our most important trades and survive longer against our own self-damage. The heart of the deck is 3 Lilith and 3 Trismagia, both of which do 3 unrespondable damage when placed, not played, and have their own unique benefits. Lilith will heal us for the damage dealt and has both Faith and Flight, while Trismagia will halt the unit it damages and costs 1 less MP, but has a cost of 5 health if we let it die. The death effect really doesn't matter considering the value, and I would honestly recommend you try to ignore it in your games, in favor of planning your next move, such as using his sengoku to bounce the card and avoid the death effect. You can really push the value you get off of Ko by waiting until your unit has traded a few blows and then bouncing them. The coordination effect is a nice bonus when you're playing just right, but isn't worth trying to focus on. More often than coordinating, you will instead be ascending over his sengoku with Colin, who has a very similar self-bounce to Ko, but the MP reduction is now a 3 MP bounce for units like Chun-Li, and the coordination is now an ascend to place a unit from EX, potentially the same unit you just returned. This is a huge unrespondable play, giving a massive tempo swing whenever she hits the board. You do need 2 units on board to get both effects, but if your EX is already set up, the ascend will work without bouncing anything, or you can use the bounce without ascending. She also has agility to put on pressure after already breaking the board. As long as we can draw both a damage and a self-bounce unit, we can make it very hard for our opponent to keep their units. So to make sure we always do, we play 3 Foresight and 3 Waka. Waka in particular can really set us up if we draw units off them, and opening multiple Waka is a huge snowball. Even if we whiff, all our actions are very good to have ready. Foresight can also trigger Waka again, and is our main way to trigger Dante's Devil. Our last smaller unit is 3 Goatling, a very unassuming unit that makes it even easier to win our trades. It's a great play after Ko, or really any of our units, as well as another good unit to bounce and to ascend over. Our remaining actions are 2 Cornered Prey. The 2 damage can make a big difference finishing off a unit after Shadowblade, especially in response to something that might save them. You can also use it after Trismagia to ping 2 units, or just to win your trades. And you do not need an open board slot for the halt, just for the ping. It's a very versatile, super important card. We also have 1 Unforeseen Interference. I mostly save this for summon minions and rocket launchers, but there's a lot to negate this format. I still think 1 copy is correct. And 1 Severance from the Past. This lets us reuse any unit, just like Ko and Lin, and also gives us Maverick Hunter. Yes, that Maverick Hunter. We only get 1 in a game, so save it for Dante. And we have our single copy of The Devil Awakens. First off, I love cards that are named like this. I hope we get a Haunted by the Memory card for 0, or a The Forced Seeker for Akuma. The card itself will guarantee our demons win their trades, or protect them from any burn actions. It also sets up our 2 Unleash cards, and will give us time to charge back 3 MP. Last of all, we have 4 finishers. There's the classic Devil Hunter Dante, who makes a great play at literally any time in the game. There's his cooler brother, Devil's successor Vergil, who can cut the length of our games at least in half if we drop him after our opening play. And there's the brand new Arch-Assassin Jiwang Mu, who will clear the board as long as enough spaces are open. I'm pretty sure this card locks the board from the top to the bottom, so if it destroys something on the way down, it will lock the newly opened space as well. I'm not completely sure of the order if it goes top to bottom, but it does sometimes lock the slots it destroys from. And being able to recycle this card with 1 of our 7 bounces makes it almost broken. Lastly, there's our ace monster, Sin Devil Triggered Dante, letting us end games the second our opponent is down low enough and completely shutting out any deck that needs 3 drops. 7 MP is very expensive, so playing at a deliberate pace and not overextending to save some MP for your other plays and when you finally draw Dante is very important. That's also why we are not playing Brainwashed. This deck already does extremely well against big unit decks, so Brainwashed doesn't quite make the cut. Here's the deck QR for you, and with all that said, let's get into it. Game 1, we are up against the boogeyman of the meta, Big Green Heart Tank. Hopefully we don't get gatored. We open a solid answer to the eventual gator in the form of Trismagia, Hasenko, and Trismagia again, and we'll charge up to make sure we have enough MP for it. While we have the chance, we'll play our Waka down to draw a Lilith and buff them, and our opponent will play Alligator. We'll activate Foresight to try to get another buff, and our opponent will use Hakai to deny it. We'll draw another Waka to our hand, which we could play, but we will take the guaranteed removal on Alligator with Trismagia and Lilith. We'll play Waka down, getting a Colleen to our EX, and our opponent will play down Altarion. Thankfully, with no Unleash, we can use our Cornered Prey to make the trade a little easier, and our opponent will use an instant Uncovered to make it much harder for us. We will return our Trismagia to buff our Colleen and itself, and give us another opportunity to shut down this Altarion. We will let our Waka get in one more hit before we ascend them for our Colin to stun the Altarion again, and get in and destroy the first one using our Shadow Blade and Colleen to destroy the second. Our opponent will play down Barry and try to make him into a Legend Eater, but we can stun him for now, and our Trismagia should be able to get the job done. Our opponent will remove our Colleen, but we have Lilith and Trismagia still on board to keep the pressure on. We're in a solid spot right now. We've already gotten through 2 of our opponent's green legendaries. We just need to be ready for whatever is next. In this case, it is a massive Huntsman player. Thankfully, we deal with the first one and the second one with unrespondable ping from Lilith. Now we just need to take care of this last one. We lower his HP to 4, and we will use Devil's Awaken to let Lilith get as much damage in as she can. Thankfully, Huntsman's anti-air will actually let us get twice as much value off of our Devil's Awaken. We will use Colin to get 3 more damage in, and to finish him off with our Shadow Blade, we will play Trismagia to pull the Alligator away from Lilith so she can keep getting in damage, and we will use our opponent will use Disarm on our Colin to stop them from really having the pressure on them. Their Alligator will take out our Trismagia, healing it up to 12, but at the moment they don't have any way to move it to the lanes that are in danger. We'll get them down to 3. Our opponent will play 1 more legendary in the form of Noble Thief Ray, who will become the Mindless Beast Were-Tiger, and they'll try to use that to stop our Colin and Lilith. It's futile though. We can finally use our Negate to stop their one last chance. They'll use the Foresight that they stole, which will do nothing. We are not going to take any bait, and we get in the last damage for Game 1. Game 2, we are up against the beast from Brazil, the legendary SirAinsworth, aka Rank Dropper. Hopefully we can still show our stuff against one of the best in the world. He'll start off with Scarface, the MP battery for Red-Green Coral, and we'll try to deny it using Trismagia and Lilith. Unfortunately, he does get 1 MP by playing Debaser in the bottom lane. He'll play another Debaser, buffing his hand. This is the one that got the Faith buff, it looks like. And we will return our Lilith to our hand and use her to deal with the second Debaser he played. He plays the third one in the middle lane, and plays Hell Crusher down in front of our Colleen. We will ascend Colleen over her Senko, flipping our Lilith back to the field, and returning his Hell Crusher, destroying the Debaser. He will replay the Hell Crusher and Anana in the middle lane. We could use our Shadow Blade to deal with the Hell Crusher, but we'll let it whittle itself down and trade with it later. We'll save the Shadow Blade for something more impactful. We'll use Senko to return our Lilith again and play her down. He will play Tunnel Rhino, which will trade with our Senko, and we can finally use our Shadow Blade on a very dangerous target. He will play Mock Gentra, which has gotten a bit of faith, and it will play a Preon Tracer down to the field. We will sit back and charge our MP for the Dante we have drawn. He will play Fernhan, which will trade with our Lilith, and we are now open for our Dante, especially when we have the chance for Devil's Awakens, which will make us undamageable and bring us down to the exact unleash we need. Ains does get 2 Rebellion Army, but when we bounce his Preon Chaser and destroy the Fernhan, it won't be worth much. He does play a Nana to get a bit of MP while he can, but we send that back to the deck as well, and we can use Arch Assassin Z-Wing Mu to get an unrespondable win. Game 3, we are up against the new Despair deck from Defying the Light, which, as far as week 1 of the meta is concerned, is a major standout. Hopefully we don't wail and perish. We draw about as good as we can ask to, and we'll start by charging up our MP. We always want at least 7 since our deck is built around these 2-card combo plays. Our opponent will start out with the new Proto-Angelo, a very dangerous unit if it gets its HP buff, but we can deny that right away. Our opponent will Murderous Spikes our Trismagio. We could use Foresight, but for fear of another Destroyer, I hold it. We get in 2 damage, and both of our life are equal, thanks to our own self-damage, and our opponent will activate Summon Minions, getting another Proto-Angelo. This one we don't have a quick enough answer for. They will play another one down. We can do 3 damage to the first one with Lilith and return it to the hand, playing our Sengoku, who now has her combo ready. We'll use our Shadow Blade to deal with the first Proto-Angelo, and our opponent will ascend a surprise Alex in front of our Senko. We'll play Waka down, and our opponent will use Deacidal Schemer Wesker to destroy our Lilith. We'll ascend over the zombie with Colin to play Lilith again, and we will play a card that I've now cut from the list, Morrigan Ainsland. We'll play Goatling in the top lane, which will trade with our opponent's Oichi, and we can get in a bit of damage. Our opponent will use Purge the Heretics, and will respond with Foresight to try and bait out a second one, which will let us make a huge Devil Awakens, denying all of the damage they were going for. Unfortunately, they can then go for Titanic Gatekeeper to destroy our Morrigan, but we're in a pretty good position, at least for now. Our opponent is below 10 HP, which will make any despair they go for massive, but they don't even need it. They can just drop solo raw, and it's more than enough to destroy our Lilith. We'll play Dante down and activate his Devil Trigger with Foresight. The Foresight will whiff, but the Devil Trigger is more important. Our opponent will use Goddess Daggers to put themselves back in the lead, summoning another Angelo. We'll play down a Goatling to buff him slightly, and our opponent will defeat our Dante with their last Heretics. We'll use our Shadow Blade to defeat Solo to try and relieve the pressure a bit, but that might have been the wrong target. We'll charge up to 7 MP to use 2 of our ping units to destroy their Angelo, and now our opponent can despair whenever they want to, but they don't even need to. They can just play down Miria, and her anti-air and the 2 units she summoned, Unleash Oichi, will be way too much for us to deal with this late in the game. We can play SDT Dante, but they play Solo in response, and that'll seal up Game 3. Here we are again, and I'm so glad that there's finally a cool purple deck again. It's been 3 seasons of Nursilla memory, and this is exactly what I needed to pull me back into purple. The deck is so adaptable, with so many moving parts, and just the right amount of RNG with Waka and our self-bounces, that this deck is addicting to play. It's one of the coolest, flashiest, most fun decks I've played in a while. Can't recommend it enough. As far as matchups go, green is surprisingly easy. We have a very easy answer to Chun-Li with our Colines and SDT Dante, and our whole strategy basically shuts down big green. Green good stuff decks are a little more even, but those aren't as popular. Red is a little more even. Against Antibody, we can usually get their units off the field before they get buffed up too much, but the big red decks with Admiral are just about a hard counter to our game plan. Purple is a bit of a mixed bag. The new aggro lock 5s are a bit difficult to beat. We'll usually have another answer by the time we deal with the first one, but Quicksilver and Breakaway are pretty easy to deal with. We just gotta wait them out, and we can drop our own rushed unit or shut down their Nursilla with all of our pings. Black is our most difficult matchup if they're on a control deck like Despair, but as long as we can trade on field against something like Ouroboros or Changeform, we can usually get it done. I would recommend the deck to anybody who wants a flashy, skill-intensive deck, or who just wants to play some Demons and Darkstalkers. As for the next episode, let me know down below whether you would rather see Hey Nico Machines or some Quicksilver Control. Please like the video if you liked the video, subscribe if you subscribed. Once again, I'm Sconculus, and I'll see you in the next one.